Good afternoon from London, and hello from me, Dr. Dermot Hudson, the chairman of the British Group for the Study of the Juche Idea, chairman of the Korean Friendship Association of the UK, an official delegate of the Korean Friendship Association for the UK, and president of the Association for the Study of Songun Politics of the UK. And today I'm briefly going to speak about the 42nd anniversary of the Kwangju massacre in South Korea. And that is something that you won't hear the pro-imperialist human rights liberals talking about. It's something that's airbrushed out of existence by them, and instead, they prefer to talk about so-called human rights violations in people's career, which of course are not real. And all the time, these people are banging on about defectors from the DPRK who've been bribed to lie about the DPRK, but the Liberals ignore the very real human rights violations in South Korea, and indeed ignore and whitewash the fascist nature of South Korean society. And in fact, in the 80s and 90s, many liberal academics in the imperialist countries, they took teaching posts in South Korea, despite its appalling human rights record. And, we're happy to take big salaries from the South Korean puppet regime. And in the UK, some UK universities are funded by South Korea. So when you sort of wonder why there's so much anti-DPRK propaganda, and why some academics are so hostile to people's career, that is the reason, basically. Anyway, 40 years ago, the South Korean puppet fascists drowned the city of Kwangju in the southern part of South Korea in blood. The South Korean fascist puppet army killed 5,000 people and injured 14,000. Here, the residents had organised protests against the military fascist dictatorship of Chun Doo-han. These protests had quickly turned into an uprising against the military dictatorship and were forcibly put down by the South Korean military. It was a truly barbaric massacre, an act of genocide by the South Korean military fascists against the civilian population. It was a fascist despotic act aimed at suppressing the Democrats and patriots and pro-reunification forces of South Korea. Of course, standing behind the South Korean puppets and pulling the strings was the US imperialists. At the time, the US actually held peacetime operational command over the South Korean puppet army. So basically, the South Korean armed forces couldn't move without the say-so of the US. Moreover, the then South Korean fascist puppet military ruler Chun Doo-han had been trained in the US and had also fought in the Vietnam War, where he was responsible for many atrocities against the Vietnamese people. He was indeed a special agent of the US Central Intelligence Agency. At a special meeting that was held at the White House on the 22nd of May 1980, attended by Edmund Muskie, Warren Christopher, Zbigniew Brzezinski and Donald Gregg, among others, it was decided that the Kwangju uprising should be suppressed. On the 22nd of May 1980, the US commander in South Korea, General Wickham, gave the green light for the South Korean armed forces to suppress the uprising by force. Jimmy Carter, the then US president, said that security concerns must override human rights. The US also sent the warship USS Coral Sea to South Korea to be on standby to assist the South Korean armed forces in the suppression of the Kwangju uprising. Thus, the US imperialists are the true authors of the Kwangju massacre. US imperialism and the South Korean puppets have the blood of 5,000 South Koreans on their hands. Today, the perpetrators of the Kwangju massacre still have not been brought to justice and remain at large. And indeed, I think it's very insulting to the memory of those who died at the hands of the South Korean puppet troops that Biden, Sleepy Joe, is actually visiting South Korea at this very moment. He is dancing on the graves of those who lost their lives at the hands of the South Korean puppet regime and US imperialism. I think the best thing to happen would be for the South Korean people to rise up and expel the US troops from South Korea and to reunify with People's Korea and build a reunified Korean homeland. I think that would be the best tribute to the victims of the Kwangju massacre. So I'll conclude there. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel Songun 007, please consider subscribing. And also, please tell people about this channel. Please share the videos widely, comment on them. We're open to suggestions for improvements or for topics you want covered. And we also have the affiliated channel Korean Friendship Association of the UK. We've got a meeting coming up in Taunton on the 28th of May. And if you live in the west of England, if you live in Somerset, we hope to see you at that meeting. You can also support us by buying our publications. I'll put a link in the description. Thank you for your attention in watching this video, and thank you for your continued support. Have a great day and goodbye.